What's new? What's new to a fresh eye, like a store owner, is not new to someone who looks at jewelry all day long.
Okay.
I have a very jaundiced eye, and if I can go through thousands of people's work on Flickr, and I did it last night. I came up with 2 people that I thought had original, new, fresh work for our show. It was not jewelry. They were robots. And if I was a metalsmith right now, man, I would be making the greatest little robots you've ever seen in your life with recycled materials. So it's what's new that, and in jewelry, there's a limitation on what you can do that's new because you have 7,000 years of tradition. And if you go to the Walters and you look at the BC jewelry in the granulation area, you will see some things that look very contemporary to you. And yet they're 3,000 years old, 4,000 years old. Another thing that wholesaling will do for you, like the old song, is RESPECT. Your banker, your mother-in-law, your kid sister, or kid brother will now have no respect for you because you are actually in business. If you are an art fair person, going from show to show, week to week, you're a gypsy in the eyes of everyone around you. But if you actually have a jewelry business and you are selling to shops and galleries, your banker understands that. You are much more likely to get a credit line than if you were just relying on juries to jury you out of good shows. And whether your banker understands that or not, he does understand the difference between a hobby and a profession. And that is the perceived difference. There are many artists on the show circuit that are doing well, on the art fair circuit that are doing well. But the perceived difference around them by the general public is, and by their bankers and the people and their suppliers, is that they are a bit gypsy, okay? So you really want this to be a business, and you want those around you to respect you as a business person and to support you for that. So, like I said, most artists that are already selling, most artists are already selling at a wholesale price if they are doing retail fairs, because a sugar loaf or a Howard Allen show will never get you the price. Anyone going to a retail fair intrinsically believes that there's a discount to be had, or that they're going to get a deal. You should be paid more for the work of selling your work one-on-one to a person, not less. And so here's what I advise. I advise that when you put your work on on your website, that you mark it safely at 3.0 from your wholesale. That way, you are not undercutting any gallery that you work with. And you also have a list of those shops and galleries that carry your work. And if somebody calls you up and says, why is it higher on your website? Say, I support my shops and galleries. They feed me. You're taking me away from my studio right now. That costs you money. That's the way I want to do business. That keeps your relationship with your galleries good, because trust me, your galleries will pretend to be a retail customer calling to see if they can buy from you at wholesale, or at lower than they want to price your work. There are gallery owners that stick around after wholesale is over in Baltimore just to see what the prices are on retail day. They cancel orders when they see that the markup is not ethical. Now, creating a business from your hands is a very, very risky thing. And it also does not allow you to grow if you want to get more for each hour that Your hands are in metal, in material. So what you need to do is add labor that can help you. If that is polishing, packing, bookkeeping, advertising and marketing, whatever you can pay someone to do at a lower rate helps increase the hourly rate that you get. Because those are things you have to pay yourself if you're doing bookkeeping. You have to think about how much time and energy you're putting into that. That's time away from the studio. And what you need to do when you start a business is to think about how many hours you're going to spend in the studio. And then you have to build your business plan around that. It's not how much you can sell, it's how much you can make that you start with. You also have to avoid conflicts. And your first couple of years in business are very difficult because you're mostly selling local and you're trying to do retail fairs and a little bit of wholesale with local shops and galleries, and that becomes a conflict of interest for you. So you have to watch out ethically for what you're doing as well. You want to make sure you're not stepping on toes and you're not ticking off your galleries. You want the support of your galleries and shops because they're the people who are going to be selling your work. And they can sell it actually more efficiently than you can and faster than you can. So one of the things you want to start doing is to avoid doing retail fairs in the backyard of some of your best galleries. Or find ways, and we'll talk about that when we do gallery relationships, we'll find ways to benefit the gallery when you are in town and when you can help out the gallery. There are ways to help out the gallery when you're going to Tampa to do a show. Yes?
This could be a major newbie question because I'm a major newbie.
Uh-huh.
How do you figure out what your market is if you don't start with your local area, which may be in the backyard of a gallery that you potentially might use later on? I mean, if you're new, how do you figure out who's going to buy your work without doing it like that?
Well, if you live in Little Town, Oklahoma, how does that market compare to Asheville, North Carolina?
No trouble.
Yes. And any city can become Little Town, Oklahoma real quick, including ours. So you have to, in order to reduce your risk, sell outside of your backyard. Because recessions can come regionally. Look at the Gulf Coast area right now. Who would have imagined that the entire Gulf Coast area would lose every European tourist for the spring and the fall? A lot of galleries right now are seeing a 30% reduction of business from last year. No, the year before. I'm sorry, that was 09. For 10, they're expecting to be just even or a little bit ahead of that year. But that's 30% off of their peak, which was 07. Okay? So it's really, really important to make sure that you are spreading your designs as far as you can. Like we said about the consultant, the further away your work sells, the more exotic and the more treasured you are. And if you show up in Tampa and you're a jewelry designer from Baltimore, that's a big deal.